Hello everyone, welcome to another one of our videos. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm Ninja Kun, and today we're going to go over the build that I chose to make for this season to enable my necromancer to actually do things quickly. Now, this build is the Blood Surge build. I did not build this from scratch myself. I based it off of a couple of builds online. Now, the main idea is I was looking for a build that was quicker than Blood Wave at clearing certain things, namely the Undercity, Overworld, so the maps in the Overworld here, the green tides, hell tides, so on and so forth. And overall, just something that was much quicker. Now, I came across this build and I thought, this is great. How can I optimize it? Now, the Blood Surge build is quite a significant build in and of itself, because what it allows you to do is allows you to spam Blood Surge over and over and over, allowing you to do waves and waves and blast the enemies around you, also in a very large AoE, more so than just the physical AoE that you see on the screen. As you'll notice, there are people getting hit all around you in quite a wide radius, and it allows you to continuously move around at great speeds. The thing that is also enabling this build is the Soul Rift ability. The Soul Rift ability makes this so much more powerful, and also overall easier to return your essence and sustain, and in general just a great sustainability. So without further ado, let's get into it. And also I will leave timestamps below so you can jump to the different sections. So first and foremost, let's look at the skills in the skill tree, and this is going to be a very quick overview. So of course you want to go Blood Surge. At the moment at 25 out of 5. We'll get to it why later. And we'll want to go with Enhanced Blood Surge and Paranormal Blood Surge, because we are going to go on Overpower. The whole build works off of Overpower, and we'll get to how we enable Overpower over time every time later. But here we have Blood Mist, and we do the first part, which is Enhanced, that allows you to overpowering, allows you to reduce its cooldown. Therefore, if you're in a pickle, this build really suffers, just like the Blood Wave build immediately CC'd. If you have elites and stuff like that, you don't have any way to get out of it unless you have Blood Mist, and it's quite sucky. Of course, you have the usual Titan's Fall, which is really great. Grim Harvest, consuming a corpse, because this build will automatically consume the corpse that it generates, which is really great, and it's the same as Fuel by Death. Another really important part is the Decrepify with the Abhorrent effect, the Decrepify, which allows us to enable the Lucky Hit, which allows us to lower the cooldown of our skills in general, and more specifically for Soul Rift, so we can spam the Soul Rift. Of course, you have the duality of Coalesced Blood and Tides of Blood, which are really important for pushing that damage and overpowering. And then we have here Reaper's Pursuit, which is really fun. It's one of the reasons why you see that I have all these shadow skills on the board. It's mainly because Reaper's Pursuit, what it allows us to do is, because of the many shadow skills, you're going to be able to have an increased movement speed, and then you're going to go down. You're going to have the usual finality, because we're going to be able to Soul Rift, and if you have a ton of enemies that are getting hit right beside you that don't die like for bits right away, then you're going to be able to recap Soul Rift and reap the benefits of the damage of finality. You have Memento Mori and Bond in Essence, which allow us to, while sacrificing and do more stuff, just power off ourselves and heal ourselves up better, and increasing damage reduction. Of course, you power up Soul Rift, because as I said, it's such a good engine. It allows you to barrier up, it allows you to defend yourself, and it makes everything vulnerable as well for around you, which is really good. And the other piece of the puzzle, which is quite important, is Rathma's Vigor. Rathma's Vigor is what allows us to ensure that we have overpowering active, and we do so in a very specific way. So the way this build works is it allows us to constantly spam around a boss and then 4 mobs, and then as we are moving around, we are generating blood orbs. This is how the build works, and as a result, we're able to therefore go around and constantly spam our build, and therefore generate overpower. So what you're going to want to do is, just as I did, is keep constantly moving around. So you're going to be moving, whether it's directional, the way that you move through the keyboard or with your mouse, and you're just going to go and just generate the blood orbs, and I'm gonna try and pop onto the blood orbs. Now, on single target like abdomen like this is not generating a lot of blood orbs, so you're gonna be struggling to also regenerate your essences and everything else on top of that because you're not lucky hitting as much. But on a single target like a boss, then that's not gonna be a problem. As you can see here, I swapped to a boss training dummy, and now we are just going around, and every once in a while, because the blood orbs are generating and I'm moving around, then this is where you're actually going to be getting this amazing overpower. As you can see, the overpower doesn't always happen, and when you don't see the numbers, what's happening is we're actually still critting. Changed here, and I'm going to do this again, and as you can see is we're critting all the time, right? And as you move, you're getting blood orbs, you're getting the stacks around Mass Vigor, and that's gonna do our overpower damage. And also we're sustaining the boss, and this is what's happening. Now let's have a look at, before we go into the gear, our stats at a glance. Here we have 200 movement speed, and this is so important. There are a couple of pieces of gear that actually give us this movement speed, and we'll get into a second into it. But 200 movement speed is gonna make us being able to just move quicker around the map and just be able to get these blood orbs, and just overall mobility is much better. My lucky hit chance bonus is really important for me for both resource generation and also to be able to cool down regen. And as we explained with the decrepify, so this is high for this reason. This is why I built it this way. Also, if you look at our base stats, we have a constant cap of our resistances, and we have critical strike chance maxed out, overpower damage at 11,700, and overpower chance at 3%, but it doesn't matter. We force the chance, and critical strike damage at 704. So these are the main stats that we're going to be working on. In general, we have some extra stuff here. Now, if you're looking at my armor and you say, oh, but that's very low armor, that's not a problem, because as soon as I buff up, I use Zero Fortitude, Random Aim Buzz because of Overpower, 20 Spices, and Spiral Morning. I go up to 505, and again, I'm not doing very hard pieces of content with this gear. And if I were to try and push, let's say above pit 110 or to 110, and I was struggling to die because against Soul Rift, like this build fortifies and bears us, so we don't worry too much about it. But if you're wanting to survive a lot more, then you swap the Random Aim Buzz for the Song of the Mountain, give you another 300 defensive, and on top of that, you're gonna get all the armor and percentages from all the other pieces if you have any defensives, and that's gonna hit you close to 1,000 if you're so inclined, as you can see here. But again, this build is not meant to be pit pushing. There's a pit pushing build, but it only is efficient, as you'll see in the videos at the end. I will leave a full pit run that I did, 105 pit run, and your 101 is okay, is good. You can still do it. It is quicker to do blood wave. The blood wave with tendrils and teleporting around is still a bit quicker than the blood surge, because you need less gear and less mastery words to be able to do the same result. But if you're really solely using this build, realistically the sweet spot once you max things out is 105, easy peasy, don't worry about it. And 110, it gets so slow, and I don't advise you to use this build for that kind of stuff. Now let's look at the pieces of gear. So as we said, everything here works off of overpower. Overpower damage is what gives us the big damage, as you'll see from the videos that are popping up at the moment. And in case you don't remember, the reason and the way that overpower works is that overpowering, as you can see at the bottom, deals bonus damage based on the sum of your current life and 45 life. So the good thing is fortifying your life gives you basically another life bars, usually duplicating the life that you have at the moment. And as you can see here, mine is slowly decreasing, but in general have 40,000. So the way that the build works is you stack fortify, you stack life, then you ensure that overpower damage, which is a critical damage that's overpowered. Now, first piece of the gear is absolutely the Ring of Starless Skies. You are gonna be so miserable, and this build is just not gonna work because the primary resource regeneration is so important here. And even if you have other lucky hit chance without the Ring of Starless Skies, you're gonna be not having a good time. But realistically, you do not need GAs. I got lucky, I got GA's core skills here. You could get GA on any specific things that you want. I don't necessarily need for this build, because you might be lacking on critical strike chance, you might be lacking on lucky hit chance. It depends on how you build your build. So either of these choices is fine. I got core, skills, and attack speed, which is perfect for this build because I wanted it that way. Then the other piece of the gear is hair prediction. The hair prediction gives +5 to my core skills, and on top of that, here I got lucky. I got a critical strike chance, which I actually use this for my Bloodwave Pit pushing build. But I also managed to get 2 critical hits on lucky hit chance, which is really, really important for me for lucky hit chance, because this build struggles when there's only a few mobs around you. So you don't want to be like 2-3 mobs and you're going to run out of essence really, really quickly. So this allows me to do that a bit more easily, because with the other pieces of the gear that you see, all I have to do is like maybe throw a reap or something like that, and I'll regenerate my essence. The big piece, another one that's really important, is the Shroud of False Death. The +1 to passes here is insanely important. +1 to all passes around 46% multiplicative damage increase. So this is insanely important, and it's just great. It gives you all the passive of +1 and just makes your build fly off the shelf. And of course, maximum life is what we want, because Overpower, as we showed you before, works off of Fortify and your actual maximal life. So more life, the better. Next up, the Crew's Embrace is another really important, really important piece of the gear. Priority-wise for this kind of piece, what you want to have is the +7 to from elites, then the Tides of Blood, then the Blood Surge, and then the maximum life. So these are the GAs that you're looking for. The best one will be Blood Surge, Drains, Elites, and +4 Tides of Blood. Here, I really wanted to get the Masterworks on the Blood Surge Drains. You don't need necessarily Tides of Blood, but if you don't have an amulet with Tides of Blood, then you might want to put the GA on a Tides of Blood, and the Blood Drains 7 times from elites. But the damage really counts for the Blood Surge Drains from elites, because those are the ones that are going to be the hardest and most annoying to build. Another great piece that we really love is the Blood Moon Breaches, both because it allows you to decrepify randomly, so extra curses, dealing damage multiplicative is really, really good, but also because it empowers your curse skills, as you see here, and also critical strike chance. And remember, our curse skills that we are using not only are within the powers of the witch powers, but you also have the decrepify, which is really, really important, and that's going to be around you all the time because of the bonus. And therefore, not only does it lucky hit more, but it improves the power of decrepify. So that's really, really nice. Another great piece is these boots. Now, what I put here is movement speed and soul restoration. I really like soul restoration. I want as much soul rift up as possible. Realistically, here you'll want to have triple masterwork or maximum life if you're optimizing for the most amount of damage. But I'm not pit pushing. I just care to just go around and be able to destroy stuff for as long as I can. So realistically, this build is fine with soul rift, and you want at least 1 in movement speed plus the movement speed temper, because this allows you with the helm to hit 200% movement speed, allowing you to basically kick, spam, and also continuously move around and get those orbs really quickly. Then we're gonna go with, right, so you want any kind of mace, a single-handed mace, because it overpowers damage, so more overpower damage in general when you're blood orbing and overpowering. And one of the most important aspects to get is the chance to restore primary resource. This allows you to constantly recoup your essence. Now, if you don't get it on here and you don't have the crewers, you can get it on the gloves, or you can get it on the focus. Realistically, you need that, but it does not have to be GA'd. It's unnecessary for it to be GA'd. And int and maximum life are great. Again, maximum life GA here will be the perfect choice. On top of that, the chance to Blood Surge to deal double damage is really, really important, and it does increase the damage significantly. So you can either go triple masterwork on Blood Surge, or 2 masterwork on Blood Surge maximum life, or triple masterwork on maximum life, or 2 maximum life and chance to Blood Surge to deal twice damage. Realistically, it's up to you. Maximum damage output is usually maximum life because it overpowers more and better. The other one is my choice of a focus. So you, of course, you want to focus because it has lucky hit chance. Don't go for a shield. And here, don't forget the rolls here. They're not that great. But what you have here is the lucky hit chance, maximum life, and intelligence. Now, I want a lucky hit chance because I managed to hit critical strike chance cap 100%. You know, it's always 100% no matter what right away. But if you don't have maxed out critical strike chance, then you could forgo the lucky hit chance for critical strike chance. And again, Blood attack speed, which you'll want to have on both, is so important to deal insane amounts of damage and to enable your build to go much quicker. And that's something that we also want to have on our ring as well, which is blood attack speed, an ultimate cooldown reduction. And here you also have, I have critical strike chance because this allows me to cap my critical strike chance. And then I have maximum life and intelligence. Again, here you could go critical strike chance, or you could go lucky hit chance, depending on the build. You can move them around. But again, realistically, what you're striving for is that 100% critical strike chance, because it is a critical strike build, quote unquote. And of course, you want ultimate cooldown reduction as much as you can, because you're wanting to soul writ spam as much as possible. Same thing here for the amulet. Now, the amulet here is tricky. To be able to get both coalescent ties, it's really hard. Usually you get one or the other. And then to reroll, like, I think this coalesce actually cost me 1 billion gold to be able to reroll. So you have to trade a lot to be able to get these kind of items realistically, or just be very lucky. But if you get a Ties of Blood that is a +2 as a base, and then you get lucky to re-roll, that's fine. You could go for the trifecta if you're very lucky. You have Ties of Blood, Coalescent Blood, and Amp damage, because Amp damage increases damage on cursed enemies. Alternatively, you just go with max life, which I fear, and definitely you want here Ties of Blood as the triple master. Now, let's look real quickly at the aspects that we're putting on the gear and why they're important. So the Curse Aura allows us to put it down, further Decrepify and Iron Maiden, and this allows us to lucky hit chance constantly into our build. This is really nice. It not only debuffs them and curses our enemies, and therefore anything that's cursed allows us to increase our damage. And again, lucky hit chance, whenever you're in a group of enemies, you're just going to see your cooldowns go down very quickly and your essence being restored because of the pieces of the gear and of the build itself. Cadaverous here is really good because your build will automatically consume corpses around you. So as they get created and spawn, they automatically get consumed and they blow up, and you'll get this increase of damage of 35% multiplicative, and it's really strong. And then you have Sacrificial, which is very good because it allows you to your sacrifice bonuses to increase. Again, we'll get to why sacrifice is so important in a second, and that's part of the book that we're going to be choosing. Then we have Rathmas Chosen. This allows us to get Overpower by blood skills to gain 55% attack speed every time you overpower, which will significantly increase the attack speed of your Blood Surge. Again, the important thing is to overpower and to spam the Blood Surge with the blood. With the Nova is going to just explode, which is what we have here, and a short delay in doing even more damage. So you see these, areas going boom. And this is what I call it the pulse build, and that's what allows us to do these insane amounts of damage. If we look really quickly at the Book of the Damned, realistically, we don't need any of the summons. So what we're doing here is we're having personally resistance to all elements here, because between this and our Paragon board, we're going to be able to cap and overcap the resistances, so that's perfect. Then we're going to have the sacrificing the skeleton mages for more overpowered damage, which is really good on bone. And then of course with the golem, we're going for critical strike damage because overpowers our critical strike damages, and we lose the ability to summon. And these are sacrificing basically the summons, and whenever you're sacrificing, you're empowering with everything we just discussed, including our passes, including our aspects, and therefore the damage increases are significantly higher. Another thing that's going to be important, of course, is the Paragon board. Now, I will caveat here, and I will say that the Paragon board itself, I did not make myself 100%. I used as much greater content creator than myself, Roots Cruise from Goblin Inc. I'll leave the link in the description down below with them. I just edited a bit their Paragon board to fit my kind of playstyle because I just can't be asked to figure out min-max Paragon board. Now, the one that I have here is with more points spent because I have 264 Paragon, but I do have in the Mobilytics one, the kind of basic one that you want to go for. And realistically, you're going to be using, of course, Control, because anything that's CC'd gets more damage. And then you're going to go up and you're going to have Bloodbath, of course, overpowered damage increase, alongside with Corporeal, which increases physical damage and movement speed for yourself, which is really strong. And of course, as you can see here, we're taking more overpowered damage, and some, like the nose decision of the rare ones, is very much to empower your life, and therefore by definition also your overpower, your resistances, and just overall have more damage on the board. Then we're going to move here onto frailty, which allows us to do a lot more multiplicative damage to cursed enemies, which is really strong. And on top of that, we're going to have sacrificial, therefore increasing our sacrifice bonuses and increasing our damage. Then up here, we're going to have flesh eater because we automatically consume the corpses thanks to our skills, and that's going to be able to grant us the damage increase. So constantly keeping up this 40% increase multiplicative. And we're going to have dominate because, of course, overpower damage. Who doesn't like that? I'm going to go up here and we're going to have essence, which is incredibly good because it increases critical strike damage. And again, overpower is critical strike damage as well, so that increases that. And of course, I've edited a little bit here to increase the blood damage because our overpowers are blood damage increase, and you have blood begets blood, which allows us for blood orbs to grant us increased damage up to 50%. So therefore, when you are spamming everything, they generate the blood orbs, run around, grab the blood orbs, overpower 100% of the time, and then continuously increase the damage. And for anybody who's trying this build from scratch and you don't have a high Paragon, this is part of a tip that I usually give for beginners and my guides for starting a season and choosing your build. Always go for the main road that gets you the points that are necessary to, first off, get the legendary nodes, and then secondly, to enable the glyphs. The glyphs expand at rank 15 and rank 45. So what you're going to do here is, for example, you're going to go here, and once you're trying to get into the radius, as you'll see mobalytics, into the radius, the red radius, you're going to want to hit all the nodes that are enabling the glyph itself. As you can see here, it says 45 out of 40 intelligence. Without the 40, I will not be able to enable the control. If it was 39, the control glyph would not actually be working. So what I would do is, for example, here, first I would pass all the way up here, straight up here, and then I would pass all the way here, trying to get all the nodes that allow me to get all the intelligence to enable this glyph. And I would forego other stuff as is not necessary. Like, for example, I would go up here and I would forgo this one until I have points to put into it. Now let's get into the witchcraft powers for the seasonal thing. Now, so what you have here is a combination that is enabling us to grant bigger boost to our core damage because of the trifecta of the eldritch powers mixed with one of the gems that we'll get to in a second. So perhaps let's look at the gems first. That might be the easiest way to look at things. So the main gem that is enabling us to do even more damage is this one here, which is called the Witching Hour. The Witching Hour says that you have 3 or more eldritch witch powers equipped. For every 1 second, the next core skill you act is also treated as eldritch, and therefore it benefits from all the trifecta of the eldritch powers in and of itself. So in here, I just use Doom more because it's an eldritch power, and then you have the Shaken Soul. This allows us to apply vulnerable with the eldritch effects furthermore, and also power up the vulnerable. Here you have the Purging Touch, which increases, well, I think this is supposed to be additive, not multiplicative, damage by 48%. So I think that's a 7% increase overall in damage. And then, of course, you have the Arrow Siphon and the Aura of Lament, and these enable the Breath of the Coven, which allows us to increase our lucky hit chance even further because you have Eldritch Psyche and Growth Decay effects all active at the same time. You're going to have the Phantom String gem, which allows you to deal 15% multiplicative overpower damage to hexed enemies, and again, they're going to be hexed thanks to our powers and overall the way that the build works. And then you're going to have the Wicked Pact, which allows us to power up by additive 25% all of our eldritch powers, which are common. I'm not 100% sure that this counts with the fact that with the Twilight, with the Witching Hour, it also empowers our Blood Surge. I don't know if this counts as a common one or not. I've not really tested it out, but either way, it's a nice little bonus damage because then you're going to increase even more so the Purging Touch. Now, for those adventurous people that also want to try and pip push, okay, first things first, you're going to need to get Masterwords. This is really important for you to understand that if you're doing really hard content, this build does not shine as good as Bloodweight. So you're going to need a lot better gear with a lot better Masterworks and greater affixes to do what a simple Bloodweight with maybe 1 GA and very simple stuff can do in damage wise, right? So speed wise, you're very, very quick, but in clearing harder content, because you know the difficulty mobs health, defenses, and damage scale as you increase the pit numbers as you go up. Realistically, what you're going to want to be doing is going to be anywhere between 101 and maximum 105. 105 is once you start having everything triple mastery work. Of course, 85, you're just breezing through, no problems whatsoever. 90s, you're starting to slow down, but you're doing wonderful. 100 is when you need to start having the master works properly done. Now, of course, if you want to push, as I said, 105 to 110, you're going to have to change a couple of things. So first things first, because you're going to be changing your runes up, so you're going to be changing the Tamja, so you're not going to be teleporting around the map as much as possible, but you're going to be changing it up with the watts. There's going to be Tam Watts. Tam Watts is going to allow you to apply that Decrepify all around, but it makes sure that you understand that whenever you're doing that, it applies the Decrepify where your mouse is. So if you're not paying attention is where your cursor is, Decrepify will not be applied. And this allows us to remove the curse aura from our boots and replace it with concussive strikes, which allows us to get a 25% multiplicative damage on dazed mobs, and you're going to be dazing them a lot because you're just going to be like blasting them with your pulses. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to have to change your ring from the Rathmas Chosen onto the Great Feast. What it does here is you get a further 45% multiplicative damage, but your essence is going to go lower and lower and lower, of course, because your build works of lucky hits, and because when you're hitting, you know, bosses and normal elite mobs in hits, they're just going to be staying alive for a while. The lucky hit is going to keep hitting, and your resources is going to go up. Now, if you don't have good resource management because you're lacking the pieces, then you're going to be struggling. And of course, if you're locking the damage at the end, what is really, really important is going to be a couple of pieces. This piece here is insanely important for damage. Having the blood, the Tides of Blood is so important. The other piece is the Crewer's Embrace that we discussed before. Really, really important for that damage. You're going to be struggling without it. The passive Shroud of False Death is going to be an insane increase in damage. You cannot do anything without the Rings of Starless Skies. You can kind of make do without these, but you're going to be losing a lot of damage overall without these two. And the Blood Moon Breaches are not as important as you think, but still, it's really, really good additive damage to here. Multiplicative damages in here. And of course, another thing that's really important is to have the blood attack speed and the chance for Blood Surge to deal double damage on your gear. Without these pieces, you are struggling. So if you're looking at your damage, like, why can't I clear? Why can't I do stuff as quickly? Without the masterwork on Blood Surge Drains and creating the masterwork and the Tides of Blood and also the passives here and the blood attack speed and Blood Surge dealing damage, you're going to be struggling significantly. Your damage is going to go lower and lower and lower depending on what piece. And lastly, I put the back style combination on the other piece of gear for my pit pushing, because maximum life increases my fortify and my maximum life, and therefore they also increase together my overpowers. This happens every certain amount of time. But because we're traveling so much between both the teleporting and or the normal just traveling as you're spamming, you're going to be traveling so much, and it's good, especially around bosses. You're going to be hitting the extra percentage, and I usually go up to like 30 something thousand HP with this. Therefore, in total, I have like a fortified of like 60,000 plus HP. Lastly, let's have a look at mercenaries. Your primary mercenary, realistically, I just like the critical strike damage from Tubo. Also, I like is the fact that when I'm just by myself, I can see mobs around the map, so I can know where to go next. Critical strike damage is important, again, as we discussed, because Overpower is critical strike. And Variana is the one that you want to have as reinforcement. And what you're going to have here is whenever you do Blood Surge, you're going to have Blood Thirst, increasing your attack speed and giving you unstoppable for 7 seconds. So giving you unstoppable is really, really important, because, like, as I said, this is going to be our Achilles heel, quote unquote, because even though you're buried and fortified, you're going to be struggling every time you get CC'd by elite effects, especially those frozen ones are really annoying. And movement speed you don't necessarily need, because you're going to be capped with pieces of gear that I have, but attack speed is really, really good. So that wraps it up for the build. I'm gonna leave you to look at a 105 run that I completed. Again, 101 is gonna be quicker than 105 and so on and so forth. I not done 110 because I can't be arsed to try and push 110s on this kind of build. Realistically, it is a very slow build to do, and I don't want to try and triple masterwork those kind of places because I just don't need it. If I'm pit pushing, I'm pit pushing. I've already hit 150 with pits clear with my main blood wave, so there's no real point in pit pushing. But if you want, you could try it. Realistically, I think with having everything triple masterwork, you can definitely, and all the GAs that you need GA'd, you can definitely clear 110s, but it's going to be very, very slow. So I'm going to leave you to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if I missed anything or any of your feedback. Did I suck? Did I say anything wrong? Let me know. And if you're interested in joining a kind community where we help our viewers every day, where we stream, help our viewers, help each other, and overall just play video games together, check us out on Twitch. I'm live every day except for weekends, and you can find the links down below. Also, you can join our Discord community and just chat with us. I'm always welcome. If you have any questions, hop online. I'll happily help you. And I've also made a guide for complete beginners, so you can check that out on the channel. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as I said. It really helps us a lot. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much to every one of you that has watched. Enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Be good, be kind. Bye.
can put my skills to use.
Greetings. How shall I guide my better than start?
Use it well. That was not bad.